And now, Howlinblind Moleslium. How's it going, everybody? Smoking a cigar with Howlinblind. Let me just fire up my little cigar here. Yes, I believe in the right to bear arms. Or human arms, or whatever kind of arms you have. How's it going? Smoking cigars with Howlinblind. Howlinblind Muddy Slim, your 60-minute Jelly Belly Toe Jam Man, here to learn y'all some blues. And I say that always to due respect to my hero, Mr. Gary Burbank. Smoking my Partagas Black Gigante. That's French for big. Gigante. Gigante. How's it going, folks? Today's November the 4th of 2009. Having a wonderful time. I just want to let you know that October 31st was a big success. It came off without a hitch. And what I mean is, the band played Air Devils In, and at midnight when we locked the doors, nobody had any idea that we were going to recreate the scene from the movie Dusk Till Dawn, where all the vampires flew in and ate everybody. It was kind of cool. Anyway, had a lot of good friends show up, and got a lot of folks up on stage to play some music. It's always a good time. And there's some video. I'll put it up here a little bit later. It's a video of one tune we did, Third Degree. But now, what I want to talk about is a couple of different things. One is H.R. 1207, the House bill to, I think it's called the, basically it's the Audit the Fed bill. And I've been doing a lot of thinking about this. Ron Paul, Congressman Ron Paul, got this going, and he got a lot of sponsors in the House on this bill. And so far, some little motherfucker from North Carolina came in and wiped out everything on the bill that would basically mean anything. And that means find out where all the money has disappeared to that the Federal Reserve has printed up and given away. You watch some of the videos on here where they are talking to Ben Bernanke, the big dumbass motherfucker, and they say, what was it, $2 trillion? Where did that money go? And he says, right, banks. Where did it go? I don't know. Let me ask you a question, folks. Let me ask you a question. You loan $2 million out. Let's say you loan $2,000 out to people. Do you care where that money went? Hell, yes you do. Because if you don't know where it went, how do you expect to get it back? Now, for you people who are watching this and scratching your heads and what the hell is Howlinblind talking about? Here's the deal. The Federal Reserve Bank, look this up. I've said it a billion times. Look it up. The Federal Reserve Bank is not a government agency. It's not subject to any laws. It doesn't have, it abides to no one except themselves. The Federal Reserve Bank is a bank that was set up in 1913 because of the Federal Reserve Act that was written in 1910 on Jekyll Island by big bankers. That basically said, we want to print and regulate the money supply for the United States of America. The monetary system and monetary policy is all in the hands of these elite few bankers who have only one thing in mind. Only one thing that they want to do. Get richer. So they have access to the printing press. They confiscated all the gold at one time and said no more gold standard shit. because of having the gold standard, we can only print certain amounts of money. let's go on a paper standard. In other words, we can print as much money as we have paper, which is what they do. They print that money and they supply local banks who loan money to you, me, and the guy down the street to buy a house, buy a car, buy Christmas. How much money are you going to spend this year on Christmas on a piece of plastic? Yes, that money is all supplied by the Federal Reserve Bank. And all they have to do to really cause panic is put a squeeze on that money and the money supply. There's gobs of it out there. People are buying houses, cars, and things left and right. And all of a sudden they put a squeeze on it. And then people start losing their homes. People start losing their jobs. People start losing their cars. And the only people who make out good is the Federal Reserve Bank. Because all dollars loaned from the Federal Reserve Bank is owed back to the Federal Reserve Bank, not only in principle, but the interest as well. And as you know, Mr. Big Ben Bernanke decides what the interest rate is going to be. Just like Alan Greenspan did for 1,000 years, it seems like, that he was in this seat, federal chairman of the Federal Reserve. Don't you think it's time, people, that this private entity, because we're the ones paying the money back by working hard and through our income tax. Now you say the government can't run without our income tax. They can, and I'll explain that later. I've explained it before, but I'll explain it again later. The government can and has perfectly well ran without income tax. But the reason they need income tax now, it's because we have to pay that money back to the Federal Reserve. I'm going to give you a couple movies to look up. Federal Reserve loans $100 to the government, and the government spends that money into existence. But $150 is due back. Where does that $50 come from? Comes from the Federal Reserve. Government says, well, we need $50 to pay it back. Well, okay, here's another $50. Give us another $100. That way we can pay the $50 back. And oops, now we know we owe $300. And it builds, it perpetuates. Of course, $100 is small potatoes compared to what this country really borrows from a bunch of people who basically force themselves on into existence in this country to control our monetary system. Control a country's monetary system and the money. And it doesn't matter who is in power as the president. I forget who said that, and that's just a paraphrase of what was really said, but you get the idea. So write your congressmen, your senators, tell them to restore H.R. 1207 back to its full capacity. We need to audit the Fed and find out what's going on. Now I'm going to take a short break. Then I'm going to come back and I'm going to talk about healthcare reform and something that I told you was going to happen a while back. And now they're just starting to talk about it. So we'll talk to you in a bit. Hang on. We're going to come back with Howlinblind's H.R. 1207 Part 2.